Hi, this is Mary Morgan of the Morgan Network. Welcome to Marketing Sense. Today I'm in Toronto and delighted to be asking my friend and colleague Kip Knight 3 questions about marketing these days. Greetings, Kip. For people that don't know you, tell us about you and what you do.
I'm originally from Louisiana, so I'm not sure that there are many Louisianian marketers out there. I started out in marketing research, which I would highly recommend for anybody going into marketing. But my real career started at Procter & Gamble. That was the best break I ever had in my life. Working for 10 years there in both the bar soap and household cleaning products division. And then switching over to food and beverage, and I was the first and I think last person to work on the Olestra brand. And oh, the stories I could tell you, but we don't have time and we'd have to censor it. But Olestra was an interesting project. From there, I wanted to work internationally, and ironically at the time, PepsiCo would love to have Americans work abroad, and yet Procter, for some reason, didn't think that was a good idea. I think they've changed their mind since then. But worked for 10 years internationally and moved a heck of a lot, including about a 3-year stint in London with KFC International. And then was Chief Marketing Officer at Taco Bell. So anything about chalupas, chihuahuas, or tacos, I'm your guy, just call me up. And then I really got the itch to go into this new area that we're going to talk about a little bit later in terms of the internet and e-commerce. So I switched over to eBay and spent 7 years there, working both internationally and domestically. Had a wonderful time working with Meg Whitman. And about 3 years ago when Meg left, decided it was time to go out on my own, and that's what created Night Vision.
Great. Now for the 3 questions. Okay. Question 1, what advice would you give marketers on how to incorporate social media into the mix?
Well, if you do nothing else with social media, I would say it's the greatest listening tool invented since the start of marketing. I don't necessarily recommend that clients actually have a social media program because in too many cases you're checking the box, so you're having a summer intern come in and you've got a Facebook page and a Twitter account and maybe a YouTube video, and then they go back to college, they take all the passwords, and your content goes dry. And believe me, you would have been better off not doing anything. That's not what you want to do. What you want to do at a minimum is to use it as a way of actively listening to your consumers, what they want, what they need, what they're frustrated with, what you can do better. And also a great way to find out how your competition's faring. There are so many tools out there that you can utilize to listen and respond to the voice of the customer. So that would be my primary recommendation, to actively listen and respond. When I was at Procter & Gamble, I know that the 800 toll number was the way, and you were always told, and I believed it, the CEO was reviewing those calls, so you better be ready for that call at any moment to be able to answer what was going on with your customer. You can absolutely do that today, but you can do it a heck of a lot cheaper and a heck of a lot more effectively than we ever have, and there's just no excuse for not doing that.
Second question, what are folks thinking and doing about mobile marketing?
Mobile marketing in a lot of ways I think is even more exciting than social media because with mobile marketing, especially if you are engaging the consumer at the moment of truth where you're wanting them to reach for your brand as opposed to your competition, the geolocation capability of a smartphone, there are now 500,000 apps out there, so the interaction of knowing where you are and knowing who you are and knowing what you want can lead to some endless possibilities. And I would strongly recommend that anybody in marketing at least understand what some of their options are and start to experiment. You don't need to shift your entire TV budget over to a marketing effort that's got a mobile application. But I would certainly study what's going on, who's winning, what some of the current developments are as far as consumer preferences, and then get out there and start experimenting, because the wonderful thing about mobile marketing is if it works, do more of it. If it doesn't, move on to the next thing. And you can do that fairly efficiently and quickly compared to, say, television advertising.
Last question, can you share with us a favorite social media or mobile marketing success story?
Yeah, there's this company that I love called Orabrush, and the story is you had a guy named Dr. Bob who's about 75 years old. He was an inventor. He came up with a tongue scraper, which you might look and go, what the heck is that? But actually, bad breath is primarily, according to Dr. Bob, due to people not cleaning their tongue often enough. And you don't clean it with your toothbrush. You really need a special instrument. And so he had been trying to get this thing into distribution forever. He'd gone on infomercials and spent a bunch of money and nothing was working, and obviously he was getting no distribution. So he finally, in desperation, went to the University of Utah, had an MBA class go out and do a marketing research project, and they came back and they said, Dr. Bob, guess what? 94% of the people said they'd never buy your product. And so we recommend you forget about it. And this one kid in the back of the room raised his hand and said, hey, but that means about 6% might. So if 6% of the population does, that's a big opportunity. So why don't you do it? So this kid and Dr. Bob teamed up and they went off and made a YouTube video. And I don't have enough time in this video to tell you all about what happened next, but if you type in Orabrush into YouTube, you will be looking at I think the #3 YouTube video channel right now.
Wow. And
the success of this program has been such that they now have more web traffic than Crest toothpaste. And they're getting national and international distribution. And if there was ever a case of a little bit of money going a long way in terms of social marketing, or social media marketing rather, that would be one to really study and appreciate.
Thanks much, Kip, for taking the time.
Okay, you bet.